He arrived at the cafe 5 minutes early, confident and relaxed, adjusting his jacket as if this blind date were just another casual meeting. Dating apps had become routine for him. He wasn't looking for anything deep, just conversation, maybe chemistry. Nothing complicated or emotionally heavy. When she walked in, he noticed her immediately. She carried herself with quiet grace. Not flashy, not loud. Her smile was soft, her eyes thoughtful. She scanned the room, spotted him, and approached. Something about her calm presence made the noise of the cafe fade for a moment. They exchanged polite greetings and sat down. The conversation began easily: work, hobbies, travel, favorite foods. She laughed gently, listened attentively, and spoke with kindness. He felt comfortable, almost surprised by how natural it felt. Still, he kept an emotional distance, a habit he'd perfected over years. Then the question came casually, without drama. She asked what his deal breakers were in relationships. He didn't hesitate. Leaning back, he said with a half smile, "I don't date widows, too much emotional baggage. I prefer a clean slate." The moment the words left his mouth, something shifted. Her smile faded. Not in anger, but in quiet understanding. She looked down at her cup, fingers tightening slightly around it. He didn't notice at first, too busy feeling proud of his honesty. After a brief pause, she looked up and said calmly, "That's interesting." Her voice didn't shake. "May I ask why?" He shrugged, explaining how he didn't want to compete with memories, how he believed widows were never fully available, how love should start fresh. She nodded slowly, absorbing every word. Then she spoke. "I'm a widow." The calf suddenly felt colder. The background chatter grew distant. His confidence drained instantly. He opened his mouth to apologize, but she gently raised her hand, stopping him. "I'm not offended," she said softly. "I've heard worse." She took a breath. "But let me tell you something before you decide who I am." Her eyes held pain. "Yes, but also strength, something deeper than sadness." She told him about her husband, a schoolteacher who loved poetry and bad jokes, how they met young, built a simple life, dreamed ordinary dreams. Then came the accident one rainy evening, one phone call, one moment that shattered everything. She spoke about grief like a storm that never fully leaves, about learning to breathe again, to smile without guilt, to wake up without reaching for someone who would never answer. She didn't cry. Her strength was in her honesty, not tears. "I didn't lose my ability to love," she said. "I lost someone I loved." She looked directly at him. "There's a difference." Her words landed heavy, sinking past his defenses. He felt something unfamiliar, shame mixed with clarity. He realized he had reduced an entire human experience to a stereotype. He had assumed pain meant weakness, that loss meant limitation. Sitting across from her, he saw how
wrong he had been. She wasn't broken, she was rebuilt. She continued, explaining how being a widow taught her patience, empathy, and gratitude. How love, once lost, became more precious, not less. "If anything," she said, "I love more intentionally now, because I know how fragile life is." Silence stretched between them, not awkward, but reflective. He stared at his coffee, now cold, replaying his words in his mind. "I don't date widows." The sentence sounded shallow, almost cruel. He wondered how many stories he had dismissed without listening. "I'm sorry," he finally said. It was simple, not dramatic, but real. "I spoke without understanding." She smiled slightly. "That's how lessons work," she replied. "They're uncomfortable." He nodded, knowing she was right. They talked longer after that, deeper than before. About fear, about healing, about how everyone carries something unseen. He shared his own loss, not of a person, but of trust, after a failed relationship he never fully recovered from. As the evening ended, he didn't ask for another date immediately. Instead, he thanked her for her honesty, her courage, her patience. She stood, gathering her bag. "Life teaches us," she said gently, whether we're ready or not. Walking home, he replayed the night again and again. Not the awkward moment, but the lesson. He realized preferences can become walls, and walls can keep out understanding. He had gone on a blind date and walked away seeing more clearly than ever before. Weeks later, he found himself thinking of her. Not as a widow, not as a lesson, but as a woman who had lived, lost, and still chose hope. And for the first time, he understood that love isn't about avoiding pain. It's about respecting the stories that shape us. Life had taught him its lesson quietly, through one sentence and one brave truth. And he knew now, judging someone by their past doesn't protect your future. It only blinds you to what could heal you most.